Do you know the difference between conocer and saber in Espanol? Both verbs mean to know, but how do you know when to use them? Learn that and much more in today's lesson. ¿Listo? Vamos! Okay, so there are two verbs that mean to know, as in K-N-O-W in Espanol. The first one is conocer, conocer, and the second one is saber, saber. They both mean to know. So it can be quite tricky as a language learner to know when to use them. And once you do, once you've mastered it, you're well on your way to mastering the language. But before we go into the ins and outs of when to use the different verbs, first of all, you need to know a little bit more about how to conjugate them. Because conjugating verbs, it will take you from the word-to-word translation over to having more of a mastery in the language. So before we look at the verbs conocer and saber and how to use them, let's first have a look at how you conjugate them. And we'll start with the verb conocer. Okay, so the verb conocer in the present tense is conjugated like this. You have your subjects, which are the yo, tú, él and ella and usted, nosotros, vosotros, and ellos, ellas, ustedes. And as you know, those are the subjects that we use for all verb conjugation. Okay, and the verb conocer is in fact an irregular verb. So you'll notice in the first person here, to say I know, it's conozco, conozco. But then it goes back to being regular. So tú conoces, él, ella, usted conoce, nosotros conocemos, vosotros conocéis, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes conocen. So the irregularity there is only in the first person, yo conozco. Now let's take a look at how to conjugate the verb saber. And it's conjugated like this. So we have the first column is the same. You have all of your subjects in the first column. And the first one again is irregular. And this is really common. This first, yo sé. Yo sé literally means I know. Yeah? Yo sé. We use it as well sometimes by saying ya sé. Yeah, I already know, yeah? Don't tell me something that I already know, ya sé. So the first one is yo sé. Tú sabes. Él, ella or usted sabe. Nosotros sabemos. Vosotros sabéis. And ellos, ellas, ustedes saben. So once you've learned how to conjugate those verbs, you next need to learn how to use them. All right, so we'll go through some examples and a few rules around when to use them. So let's look at first of all the verb conocer. And as a general rule, the verb conocer, it's stronger than the verb saber. The verb conocer is more that you know, when you know something with certainty. Por ejemplo, yo conozco bien Patagonia. Yo conozco bien Patagonia. I know Patagonia well. We also use the verb conocer for the name of a location, a person or a thing. So, por ejemplo, yo conozco a Julia desde hace 10 años. Yo conozco a Julia desde hace 10 años. Yeah, I've known Julia for 10 years. And you'll notice there's an a in between the verb conocer and the person. And this is what we call the personal a. Not something you need to get too hung up on as a beginner, but certainly as you work through and progress through your Spanish, you'll want to look into that a little bit more. We also use the verb conocer when we're referring to places that you know. Okay, so maybe you're talking about, let's take Spain as an example, okay? So I might say, yo conozco España. Yo conozco España. means that I know Spain. I've been there, yeah? Yo conozco España, or yo conozco Argentina, yeah? I know Argentina, I've been there. And notice that when we're talking about knowing a place, we don't use the personal a, because it's a place. So for when we're saying that we've known Julia for 10 years, conozco a Julia desde hace 10 años, compared to knowing a place or having been to a place, conozco Argentina, there's no a. So now let's take a little look at the verb saber. And this is used as a more kind of general informational knowledge. Okay? So, por ejemplo, I might say, es importante saber otro idioma. Es importante saber otro idioma. It's important to know another language. We also use the verb saber when we're talking about knowing how to do something. So maybe I want to know if you know how to play golf. I might ask you, ¿tú sabes jugar al golf? ¿Tú sabes jugar al golf? Do you know how to play golf? Yeah, that's the informal you. ¿Tú sabes jugar al golf? And you might say, sí, sé, yo sé jugar al golf, or no, yo no sé jugar al golf. Speaking Spanish is a great one. Yeah, so yo sé hablar español. ¿Tú sabes hablar español? Do you know how to speak Spanish, hablar español? Okay, so to recap, there are 3 basic rules that you can use to identify when to use saber and when to use conocer. Okay, so conocer. Remember these 3 rules. Número 1. For a person, we use it with the pronoun a. We use it for when we're meeting someone for the first time. We use it for a place. So expressing that you know or you don't know a place. And a thing, expressing you know something in particular. So for conocer, we have person, place, and thing. And for the verb saber, we have facts. So we use saber when we're talking about facts, when you know something for a fact. We use it when we're talking about information, so expressing that you know something in particular. And also for learned skills, so saying that you know how to do something in particular. Okay, well, I hope that's made sense and you've learned a little bit more about when to use conocer and when to use saber. Get out there and practice and let me know how you get on. And that's all for today. Adios!